All right, guys. So there's a lot of guides out there that talk about how to get better at Rivals 2 or any video game and do these 10 things in neutral, learn how to be reverse, learn how to wave dash or whatever, And those things are good mechanically to learn how to do. But I wanted to dive deeper into what goes into like an actual practice session and how to practice exactly. Because a lot of people don't know how to do that and it takes a lot of time and work. But it is something that is good to learn, not just for rivals or but for video games in general and other life skills, putting in the actually knowing how to put in the time to do things. So today we're going to be going over how I do that. And yeah, so let's get started. So I based my practice method actually off of this tweet. So this is from Bryce Blum. He's a TFT player. I think he has Smash Roots too. But he tweeted out that if he ever got the chance to play TFT full-time for a set, here's how he would daily prep on stream. And I'm going to do a quick summary of this. Half hour reviewing top player profiles to see what people are doing, who's finding success. What that looks like in Rivals is just finding a top player that you like to watch. Or maybe looking at like a tier list of all the characters that are doing well right now and knowing what the meta is like. Then he has 2.5 hours of VOD reviewing players. And after that, looking at stats and all that. That's less useful for Rivals, but more for TFT. Then there's a break, and then there's actually 4 hours of playing games and VOD reviewing your own games right after. And the goal for his stream would just be documenting the experience. Like he says at the end, this probably won't be entertaining or popular to do because it's a lot like doing homework, Doing homework, you have to do this thing to practice a skill that you're going to get better at eventually, right? And actually doing the homework for the skill isn't too fun, but being able to do that skill in the end has a lot of value and merit, and that's when you actually have fun. So expect this video to be along the same types of lines. So yeah, let's get started. And I want to start off this video by going into the VOD review process. So what you want to do when you VOD review is actually look for a good educator when you're looking at someone to VOD review. What I mean by this is you're not going to go into like Hungrybox's stream, for example, and expect to learn something, Hungrybox is a very entertaining streamer, or any other hype streamer, who yells and does all those fun things. You don't go into those streams expecting to learn. You want to find someone who explains their decisions that they're making as they're playing, or answers questions, And for me, because I'm a raster player, I choose to go to Mr. R for this, and I'll do VOD review that way. You have to know how you learn as well. So for example, in TFT, I would play with mostly a muted stream. And the reason for that is because I can watch someone make decisions in TFT and copy and learn that way, and not really need them to explain it for me. And because I'm just able to, that's how I learn. But that's not going to work for everyone. So if you are a visual learner or auditory learner, hold on, my freaking cat is going crazy. If you're a visual learner or auditory learner, make note of that and really try to learn how you learn yourself. So yeah. So before you start VOD reviewing, I want you to go into a VOD review with a purpose. You don't want to go in and just not have a goal in mind. So some of those examples would be, am I trying to learn a certain combo or different combos for this character? Am I trying to learn a matchup? And you have to think about why you're doing what you're doing. So this morning I went in with the purpose of learning how to use Raster's down air. And one thing I learned from VOD reviewing is just to use the back hit of down air instead of just the front hit all the time, because it sends people in a different direction. So it's things like that you have to keep in mind when you're watching someone, just to have a specific goal in mind and to make it easier to learn, because there's a lot of different things that would be going on the screen. Like right now, for example, I'm watching him jump around and I'm asking myself, oh, why is he jumping around? But if I'm focused on one thing, it's going to be hard for me to focus on another thing. So try to keep one thing in mind the entire time you're VOD reviewing, and maybe it'll help you just keep a clear goal. So another example of things that you can ask yourself while you're VOD reviewing is what are they doing in situations that I don't do? What this means is if you're struggling in dealing with a character or a position that your character is in, you have to watch and see what they do in order for and find the answer that they're doing to the problem rather than you. For example, like right there, he was being pressured by Loxton on his down or off stage. What is he doing there? He's staying close to the ledge because he's able to attack the wall and get back up onto the stage, right? So it's things like that you have to keep in mind. Another important question to ask yourself is to ask yourself, what would I do in this position? And the way you do that is pausing the video. So pausing the video allows you to think about an option that the person you're watching is doing rather than just seeing the answer right away every single time. Because if in your brain you're thinking yourself, oh, I would do this here, and you see that that option is wrong after I unpause it, you know? So right there, he got hit by the up tilt and landed onto the platform. In my head, I'm trying to jump away because I don't want to get hit by the next move, but Mr. R knows that he lands on the platform, is able to hold shield after. So I would have gotten hit by a move, but Mr. R didn't because he held shield, even though he did get grabbed after. But that's not the point of this. So those are the ways to VOD review. Now you want to go into training mode with the idea of I'm here to learn the things that I just went over in my VOD review. And of course that completely depends on what you just went over. So I gave the example of learning how to use the back hit of down air instead of this first initial hit. So what I would do for maybe like the next half hour or hour is find different raster setups where I'm forcing myself to use that back hit of down air instead of the first hit, and getting used to that. Because as you can see, I'm not good at getting that hit, and that's not the right hit. It's this one right there. Oh, it's hard. So that's one thing I would do to go and practice. So after VOD reviews of other people, you have to learn how to VOD review yourself. And it's a little bit of the similar process, but there is a little mental block there. Because a lot of people don't like to watch themselves play. Because a lot of times you're watching yourself lose and that just doesn't feel good. But you really have to learn how to put your ego aside and just get over it. So one thing I want to point out with the Rivals 2 replay system is that you have to enable it in the replay autosave. I think this is set to local only when you start up the game. So make sure you set it up to online as well. And you get into your replays just by going to extras and replays. And I think it is a lot better to watch yourself lose than watch yourself win, because you get to see what you did wrong and you're not stroking your own ego by just watching yourself do the right things all the time. So if I were, let me try to pull up, I think I lost this one. So when I start up a replay, I want to see what I'm getting hit by, what I'm hitting my opponent with, and I'm looking out for things that I misinput myself. So right now, I think as a player, I know I go for a lot of backers when I play versus Maples because they run around a lot and run into my stuff. So I would look out for why that's working and how that's working, and when it doesn't work and why it didn't work. I think one thing I mess up a lot in this match is using my Nair, because Maple's really small. It's just hard to hit them with Nair. But yeah, that's what I would be looking out for in my own replays. It's a little bit of a different process because you have to watch yourself and you have to ask yourself your own questions. But you can sort of do the same things during self-VOD reviews as you're doing when you're watching someone else. Pause it, say what you should have done, see what happens. Oops, I messed up the camera. But pause it, see what you could have done, and then see what you did in that moment and ask yourself those same questions that I listed. After that, you would go into training mode again and learn how to deal with the moves you're getting hit by. Let's say I didn't know what to do versus Maple's I don't know what to do versus Maple's like side B or whatever, you know? So I go into training mode, choose Maple herself, and see how this move works exactly. Another important thing to do after that is practice commonly misinputted options. So this is where those videos where it tells you like, oh, these top 10 tricks or moves to learn how to use in Rivals is actually very useful, because mechanically there are a lot of things that you need to learn how to do. One thing that I was messing up a lot myself as Raster was doing dash attacks. And I'm going to teach you a little trick to learn why you're misinputting things. So I wouldn't just mess up dash attacks, I would mess up letting go of shield and then using a dash attack, right? And if I want to think about why, or if I want to learn how not to misinput that option ever again, I have to learn, slowly break down how to do that option, right? So I'm holding shield, I'm letting go of shield, and I'm dash attacking, right? In order to do dash attack, you got to press forward and then attack. And then after you drop a shield, there's a little bit of lag, and press forward and attack, you know? So if I do all that really quickly, a lot of the time I'm going to get F tilt because I'm pressing attack too early. So if you're practicing something that you misinput, break down why you're misinputting it and how that input's supposed to work in the first place. Another example of that for me that I needed to practice was Z dropping from the ledge and then wall jumping into a neutral air. This was a really hard thing for me to learn because it's just a foreign input for me. So it's things like that. Just break it down and it's going to be a lot easier for you to learn how to do. All right, and then I wanted to go over how you should be approaching ranked mode, because this is where a lot of people put a lot of value into their game, you know, or into their mind. This is like everything to them. So the biggest tips I have for ranked is just one, ignore the number that's on the screen. This big old 1136, ignore it. It doesn't really mean anything. Ranked is an imaginary number. And it does feel good when the number goes up and bad when the number goes down, but you really have to learn to put those feelings aside. And when you hop into ranked, you want to combine everything that you learned from doing everything prior and focus on one thing that you want to improve for that session, you know? So let's say for me, one thing I needed to improve as a Rivals player coming from Smash was just learning, one, how to hold down, and then how to DI in general. And it can be really frustrating to play the game and not keep anything else in mind, but you have to really put those things aside and focus on the one thing. When I was learning how to do that specifically, just DIing, I was playing a Zetterburn, right? And I was constantly getting hit by down throw up smash. And you only get hit by the down throw the up smash if you're DIing in. So for the entire game I was playing, right? But I really didn't care. I was just one, trying to be ready for the grab, and then trying to be ready for the down throw into the up smash and just holding away. And since that session, it's been a lot easier to DI grabs and be ready for those types of options. And then when you do the correct thing, I want you to say something in your mind to congratulate yourself, because rewarding yourself mentally is a lot better than just getting down on yourself for doing the wrong thing over and over again. And it's really helpful when trying to learn something. And then after that, this is a process that you can't just repeat once and see better results. You're gonna have to do this one or every day or over and over again, like let's say 3 times a week, you know? It's not something that you can do just once and expect to just be a better player automatically, you know? And yeah, that's my little practice regime that I've had for a lot of games. It's worked for me in one Rivals and as well as TFT and Street Fighter, and just how I like to approach practice. If you have any other questions about a practice regime or like any other things that you like to do, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I just want to make a quick video going over that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.